I am starting the build, the Stuart McDonald Ghost Drive build, and this just going to be a quick intro here, and then we'll get into it. But all right, hey guys and gals, it's Dane at JONAH Guitars. I've just saved you at least an hour and a half of multi anyway, metering. All of these resistors, and I just use this plastic thing to stick them on there. I'll tape down to the top with their numbers. So I still have quite a few down here on the bench. I also use the box, tape some on the box. But anyway, just to give you an idea, it does take a while. Like I said, I saved you an hour and a half of metering, and you can't see these things without a visor. And I checked went through the box, the booklet rather, and checked them as I found them. All of them read really good tolerance-wise. I've only got a couple things that I had a little bit of a question about. I don't have a capacitor or capacitance meter, so I was not able to determine a couple of the capacitors as to whether or not they're the right ones. The other ones I could, no problem. I had one oddball resistor that is supposed to be 392K, and it came in at 332K, which, depending on where the allowance is, it's a little more than 10% off, but it's within about 15%. So it could very well be a 20%, allowance. But we got that all figured out, inventoried everything. All the parts are here. We're ready to start doing this thing. Next time up, we'll get the little PCB out and separate the pieces. There's a separate piece for the foot switch that comes out of that, and we'll get soldering. All right, we're back into the Stu Mac Ghostbuster drive, and I'm thinking about, I'm not going to make one of these, a little holder. I think I might be able to jig something up here that'll help out with spinning this board around, but it may or may not be really that necessary, so we're going to see. First thing we're going to do, this would be segment 1 or something like that. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to get this board freed, all the parts out of the PCB. We're going to cut, well, that's what I thought we were going to do. Yeah, well, we'll just do it this way. We'll get through here. Wow, that's tough. Tougher than I thought it would be. They act like all you gotta do is just snap these out of here. Oh, that's what you gotta do. You don't get in there. Oh, that's actually got like some kind of metal reinforcement or something. Here we go. All right, a pair of pliers probably would have been better for that. All right, so we've freed the main part. Let's use a little heavier deal here. All right, so we got that taken care of. This leaves a bit of a little rough edge here, and it's not probably important, but I'm going to go ahead and just file that off of there so it's not snagging on things. I just happen to be doing this off camera because I don't want the little shavings up here on the board. And I put the paper towels down in hopes to have a good contrast for what's going on there. All right, so there's those thingies. So the first thing we need is a rectifier diode. And there's 3 of these that are very similar. Two are the same, and they're smaller, and one is bigger. And that's the first one they're asking for, the rectifier diode. And it has a number printed here. And the stripe goes on the negative end. And from all my previous reading, I find that the square, anything that looks square is a negative end, although here it shows it as a positive end. So maybe I read that backwards. But it's the end that has the line on it. So I'm wondering, it's pretty much the length of that. Okay, it needed to be a little shorter. It's pretty cool. I don't know if you can see it or not. I will push this right up into the camera here and hopefully get it to where is the camera? There it is. Oops. All right, so you can see that the picture on the board itself shows the line on the end of that, also has the line where the part is at. So that drops through. And then we pretty much just splay the wires so that it stays in place. And then we have these 2 black guys, according to the book, and they're the same, and their wire goes on their line or stripe goes on the other end, and that other end has the square. It looks like they pretty much have to bend right up tight with the unit itself as well. So flipping that over, putting the striped end, see there. Splaying the wires again. Same thing on the next one, identical unit here. And that's also called a rectifier diode. I don't know if naming the values is relevant for anybody. Anyway, those 3 diodes are located. All right. And then we've got 2 more diodes. Turn this thing around to where I can see it properly. And I try to figure out how to locate these things on the board itself. Well, one way to do it is to find the picture with the line. I found it. So it's just labeled as GE on the board itself. And okay, and that's germanium diode. And pretty much just right up against the unit as well. And now these are these crisscross. So one of these has the line on one end and the other one has the line on the other. It's probably clear as mud. Okay, there we go. There we go. One more. You know, normal guitar building, or wiring, I should say, you use things like capacitors and resistors, but they're not polarized guitar circuits. And these are polarized, or it wouldn't matter which direction I was putting them in. All right, and there and there. So I'm going to turn the soldering iron on. I have a Sealody, S-E-A-L-O-D-Y soldering station. I like the sponge. I also have a little wad of, looks like a scrubbing pad that you can clean your iron in. I normally run my iron at about 400 degrees when I'm soldering guitars, but that allows me to solder things quickly. And I'm going to start out at about 300 in this case, because I don't want to overheat this board. And I don't know if that's too hot or not, but I also recently purchased a thinner solder that I've been using for years. I bought a roll of solder from Radio Shack a million years ago, and I still have it, and it's just a little bit heavy. So I thought it would be nice to try some thinner stuff. All right, we're back. So you can see in the camera the difference in the thicknesses of these two. I still have a tag on here, but I don't know if it says anything. It just says it's 60/40, and I'm pretty sure that's what this one is, 60/40 also. These are both rosin core, so you don't necessarily, you could, but you don't have to add solder, or flux rather. But you can tell this is quite a bit heavier, and I certainly don't need it for this delicate bit of the operation. I'm going to leave these things right, just leave it laying right where it is and see. Pull my visor down. I'm going to tin my soldering iron and then clean it and then tin it again and just pull a bunch of excess solder here. Now, like I said, I just recently soldered a little teeny board-like thing. It was a volume control on an acoustic guitar. So I really don't want to stay on here long. Well, there we go. I might have to turn this up a little bit. Yeah, it's not really heating that circle up. It just melted some solder and blobbed it on there, but it didn't actually penetrate. Oh, it did penetrate the other side a little bit. Okay, interesting. I'm going to turn it up just a fuzz anyway. About 25 degrees. Let's see what we get. Now we'll just go 20 degrees. Okay. Okay, yeah, those look pretty good actually. Actually, all right, let's pop. Okay, and turn that up just a little more. I'm going to continue over on these other three. Yeah, now I turned it up to 130 or 335, excuse me, and they're flowing down in there really nicely now. So I'm going to touch these again. All right, back in for phase 2 or part 2. This would be the 31 resistors to install here. And the first one of my list in the book, show you the book, is the, what was it, 650? 560 ohm resistor. So about a 0.5K, unless I'm wrong. Anyway, so I had the 560s right over here on my, taped on my lid here, and these are the 560s right here. So I got those handy. Now I made a statement previously that these are polarized. The diodes are polarized, and a lot of the capacitors are polarized, but apparently resistors are not. So it doesn't make any difference which direction these go in. I don't even know if it matters if I try to make them go in this thing, because nobody can see these things. So, and it has the outline for them. So this little spot right here is a 560, so I'm just going to see where it looks like it needs. Right, yep, just right at the end. Totally tight bend here. And then we'll pop it into the 560s. Doing the same thing, just splaying the wire on the back, hold it in place. And the other 560 is right here. Now obviously, this is a lot different than if you were to be designing your own circuits and things like that, because then you would actually have to know what all this stuff does. This is like painting by numbers, electronic painting by numbers. Really. And I'm going to go ahead and solder these as I go, just so I don't have a bunch of these wires sticking through, getting in the way. Because there's 31 of these things, and 31 of these little forced wires sticking up would be a real pain. So I'm just going to do a couple, and then pretty much, get the rest of them in, or get to a point and bring you back or something. But let's see. Okay, those look really good. So right here looks like it might need a fuzz more. Groovy. We're back in here on the Boogie with Stu Ghost Rider's Boogie Ghost Drive, or Ghost Rider's Boogie Drive. I don't know. It's a Boogie Drive. Okay, so just the last 3 of these resistors in, and it went without a hitch, except for one hitch. And I'll tell you, I had I was looking for 4.7, and they're labeled, but you can't see them once the dealies are in. So there's a 4.7 and a 47K. So 4.7K, 47K, and they were right next to each other. And I was putting the 47K in, and I stuck it on the 4.7, or vice versa. Anyway, I had to, once I realized I'd made a mistake, I had to desolder the one, which was already snipped off, which wasn't too tough putting it back in, except that there was solder in the holes of where I'd taken the other one out. So I was able to solder suck one of the holes clear, and the other one wouldn't, so I basically heated it up and stuck the whole length of the wire through and had to get it jammed through there. Anyway, but let's see here if I can get this up into the camera decently. And can that always go the wrong way? Anyway, there it is. All the resistors and the diodes are in, and the back is also nice and neat, just soldered and snipped off. So that's it. That's diodes, 5 diodes and 31 resistors in place. And next time we do this, we'll be doing, I believe it's the capacitors on the next page. It is. We have 11 capacitors to put in. It's 8 o'clock in the evening, and I have to go do my PT on my knee. So I am going in. And actually, I came back out the same evening, and I just had to rest my knee a little bit in between shifts here. And I've been out here quite a while now with my knee, and it just starts to ache when I have it down for too long and just fold it up under the table. So anyway, there's my whine in for this session. Later, guys and gals. Fun so far. I'll tell you, when I first started looking at all this stuff, it's just kind of dizzying. And it's just a bunch of numbers that don't make any sense to you. But once you've gone through and you cataloged everything, inventoried everything, and then I marked it with tape just to make sure. And even as I was installing them, I double checked myself. If I had one marked at 1K and it was calling for the 1K, I would test it again before I put it into the circuits.